Hello traders, welcome to today's video. Another Bitcoin update for you today. And yeah, it's been my first one in a couple of days, mainly just because Bitcoin's kind of done nothing all week. So we needed this move in order to get out of this range of nothingness that we've been in recently. But also, yeah, had other stuff basically to attend to this week with a very poorly doggy. But you'll be pleased to know she is recovering, she's doing well, and we hope that she'll be back to her full fighting fit again, hopefully relatively soon. But yeah, let's get into the price action. So we'll start off here just on the low time frames because that's the easiest thing. A drop below previous week low. Okay, so we've dropped below previous week low, and this has also cleaned up the poor lows, the wickless weekly low. It's hard to say on the week. You get the idea, right? So we had that drop down here. And actually, this was relatively like okay to get into a short position yesterday. So at this stage, like Thursday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, it was looking kind of good. Okay, you'd had this move up. You were just maintaining this like bullish market structure, coming back in again to test into that yearly open. And I was kind of thinking like, okay, we've got an opportunity here to come up and sweep the highs and get to that 44K level again. But there was these couple of SFPs that we had from local highs previously within the week, okay, and each of those getting those little rejections. And then ultimately, okay, there was the attempt to break out of this low time frame bearish market structure to kind of flip it bullish, hold that daily open, so this level here being the previous day open, and then to move higher. But as soon as that got lost at that stage, you come back in, test the open again, and then immediate drop. So yeah, relatively simple, straightforward type of trade to get into with the attempt to change that market structure. You have that as a failure, you come back in, you back test it, and then down we go. So overall, this drop was, I think, like essentially if you zoom out, we're still like working within this little range here. There's the potential for this to be a deviation, and actually this is something that I do want to share this morning, is a couple of the higher time frame views. So I'm actually looking at this right now as being a pretty reasonable option to be looking at for a trade. So what we've seen so far is the range that was formed after last Friday's drop. Prices come down, you get this deviation below there, okay, the manipulation below there, and now looking for the move up, which initially last week I wasn't looking at a move towards these highs. I was simply looking for like a sweep of this, okay, to come up into 44 before dropping and then looking at something like this. So what we've actually got now probably gives us an easier trade with the lows that we've put in here being the invalidation. And if price can come back above, hold above that previous week low, and maybe even hold above this weekly open over here, then we have a really good, like decent risk to reward with an entry around about this like 41.6, 41.700 area. Your invalidation being down here, and you can trade that back up to 46K. So a decent little trade opportunity. It's been the first proper trade that you can hold for any time, like since the ETF day. So like if you didn't go short here, there's just been nothing, like little SFPs, little scalps here and there. But this being the next big opportunity that I see on the chart. And when you zoom out, okay, it actually looks pretty reasonable. We're in this same range. Yeah, a lot of people at this stage are going to be thinking, well, oh my God, we haven't taken these lows. We haven't taken these lows. We haven't taken these lows. What's going on? We've got all of this stuff down here. But actually, like this as a trade right now, okay, to be short, looking for a move down of another, like 1-2%. Doesn't particularly make sense because you'd have to have an invalidation set up here. There's no risk to reward within that trade. So from a trader's perspective, something like this looks a lot cleaner. We can always come back down there and get that later on. Maybe even get that drop down towards these low 30Ks, which is what we're looking for. But for right now, okay, looking at something like this as having the potential to play out. Now, another good chart to show you is if we look on these higher time frames here, then essentially we're in what I would consider a couple of ways that you can draw out this range. So we had the rejection. This was very, very clear. This is what we have been looking at. There was the big rejection. Okay, first major support here that the majority of us, including myself, is looking at is that 38K. Now at 38K, you have the anchored VWAP from when we started to have this ETF run. So price can come down, run it slightly below that anchored VWAP, get continuation higher, that type of thing. What we also have around there is our moving averages. So we've just lost the 50, coming down towards that 200. That could take a few more days to get there. But if I switch this over and add in we've got another EMA just here that I need to turn into the 100, then you can see that that 100 moving average is around about where that anchored VWAP is at that 38,800 type of zone. So something else to be aware of. Now, the other way that you can draw this range is simply by doing this as more of a channel. So we've got this as being the value area high, rejected, come back into the POC. And then we're looking at the value area low, giving us our ultimate support down there at around about 32K. Or we can be looking at it as basically we're in this range from a price perspective, and where this is right now, having swept the highs, rejected, settling right back here at that EQ of this local range here. So this basically being just squeezing down that volume based range into where we are essentially trading now, having just not been able to break it. Like, here's your range, okay, a little old one, didn't last very long, but you have a couple of attempts to break into it, fails, you finally get in, you come all the way to the top, and at this point coming back into the midpoint, and if that can hold, then hey, a nice big move up towards 69, 70K again comes afterwards. So just a couple of different ways that you can view this at the moment. So yeah, for me, taking it level to level as always. But for right now, looking at the very real possibility that if this can get a little bit of strength and start to hold where it is right now, I want to see a little bit more of a push, then absolutely that leads to a decent play that can take you up into the golden pocket, back into that important yearly level from 2022, back into the POC of this range that we have back here, and that gives us a really decent trade. What we've also seen, which is why I don't feel particularly bearish, is that alts are continuing to do pretty well. So during the drop yesterday, the altcoins held up really well. You've got alts making new highs again today. It's the same old things, the same stuff that I talk about in all of the live streams. The altcoins that I like are the ones that, again, are getting really good bounces right now. So for me, no reason to be like, oh my God, it's so bearish, we're going to dump the highs in and it's all over. No, there's so much going on. And there's so many opportunities in this market still right now, so much stuff moving in both directions. But the opportunities are still there. We're certainly not looking at this being like bull market over and we're going into another bear phase. So yes, that is everything I have to say for this morning. So have a great day. Live streams and everything will resume again from next week, just obviously for obvious reasons. I do have to keep an eye on the dog right now. And yeah, she can't really be like sitting around, standing around, doing stuff that would usually get her quite excited, going on the treadmill, all that kind of stuff, just for the next few days or so. But yeah, back to that next week. And yeah, have a great weekend. I'll see you all again very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.